Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about asset protection trusts. Now, asset protection trusts come in a few different varieties, but in this video, we're talking about asset protection generally for nursing home purposes. And an asset protection trust is generally going to be an irrevocable trust, as opposed to a revocable trust, which is done for traditional estate planning purposes, such as probate avoidance and holding money or assets back from somebody who's too young or have special needs. And an asset protection trust can do all of that as well, but it's really designed to, protect assets, right? And generally what you want to do is transfer assets to that irrevocable asset protection trust. In fact, sometimes I just call it a nursing home protection trust. And you want to do that ideally 5 years in advance. And that's because there is what's called the 5-year look back for purposes of Medicaid. Now, as somebody who does these trusts routinely, and I litigate these trusts as well, and I've had them in front of the Medicaid caseworkers, etc. But generally, these trusts are designed to be what are called grantor trusts. Not always, but what you need to know about how these work is when you pass away, you will get what's called the step up in basis, meaning your children or whoever the beneficiaries are will inherit those assets tax-free. And then you have to be acutely aware that you're no longer the true owner. So the trust is the owner, but generally you're going to have the right to live in the property, right? If we transfer your home in there, you have the exclusive right to use it. You have the right to any income, and essentially nobody can ever kick you out. You're going to pay the property taxes and insurance just like you did before. Now, this particular type of trust works very well for real estate. It also works well for brokerage accounts that are not retirement accounts, where we can transfer those into the trust. And then it depends how we design it, but normally you, the grantor, right, the person who's creating and funding the trust, right, the trust maker, the settlor, there's a bunch of different names for you, you will have the right to income. So for example, if you have farmland or rental properties, or if you have stocks that pay dividends, that income, right, will get distributed to you. But it doesn't have to be. Sometimes we have it go to the children rather than you. So this is all things we handle in the design process. And again, we're doing this so that in the event you do go to a nursing home, they can't essentially put a lien on the house or otherwise, for lack of a better expression, take it from you, right? Now, there are other techniques we can combine with this, especially if we have retirement accounts. We can do a will with a testamentary trust. Now, I won't get into that in this video. I will do a separate video on that, so stay tuned for that. But an asset protection trust is an irrevocable trust where you want to transfer assets into it 5 years before you go into a nursing home in an effort to make sure you're not forced to sell those assets to pay for your long-term care. A nursing home can easily be $10,000 or more a month, and so this is a common strategy to preserve assets for middle-class families, and something I do routinely. And again, this is a traditional estate plan as well, so you will avoid probate just like you would with a revocable living trust, but because it's irrevocable, you're going to get that extra protection. Now, you do have to make some trade-offs, right? It's not a piggy bank or a cookie jar where you can just say, hey, I've got $50,000 in there, give that money back to me, right? We have ways to get it back to you, but it's not going to go directly to you. So these are just some of the things we discuss when you come into my office. But if you're interested in irrevocable asset protection trust or nursing home protection planning in general, that is a very strong emphasis in my firm, and we'd be more than happy to help. At any rate, I hope you found this video useful and informative. I'm Attorney Vince Hein with Hein Law Offices. Thank you so much for watching.